All right, good morning and welcome. I want to ask you a question. How many of you want to be successful in your career? Because I want to talk to you today about keys to being successful in global corporations. I have myself been teaching in global corporations now for 28 years. And this presentation I have made in GE, in IBM, in Microsoft, in Motorola, and I have trained literally several hundred people on this particular presentation of how to be successful in their careers. Many of them are now in senior positions in many of these companies and other companies globally. And that's what I'm going to teach you right now. In 2000, the turn of the millennium, Korn Ferry International did a survey, a CEO survey. They talked to a group of CEOs of major American multinationals and also some European multinationals. And they asked them just one question. They said, what are the key ingredients for success in tomorrow's corporations, given the challenges in the environment as you anticipate them? I want you to remember just one thing. Gravity is a universal law, so is success. And universal laws don't change with time. And that's why what made for success in year 2000 continues to make for success in 2012 as we stand here, and will continue to make for success as we go forward. To give you an overview of what the CEO said, they said 5 things. The first thing they said is what gives success in multinational corporations is global experience and understanding of business in terms of global impact. Number 2, functional expertise in your own function. What are you best at? Functional expertise and exposure to leading multinational teams. Number 3, the ability to react to local opportunities and threats. A global vision, but acting local. Number 4, a network of relationships spanning countries, spanning nationalities, spanning races, spanning color, across the world. A network of positive relationships. And number 5, multi-language skills. The ability to communicate effectively and with impact. Bottom line, gain positive visibility and influence. First rule, that origin is less important than results. It matters less where you came from and more what you can do. Big name business schools, big name engineering colleges, all of that are door openers. They will open doors for you, because the first person who invites you for an interview is looking at your CV, and that name looks good, so there's nothing wrong with that. But what is important in terms of developing the career, once you are inside, it doesn't matter where you came from. What's important is what can you do. So contribution is more important than credentials. Visibility is important, but ultimately it is credibility which must be built. So formula for success, cross-functional experience built on functional expertise. So what to do? Now here are my keys to career advancement. The first one is planning. If you don't plan, you don't have any clue of what's going to happen. So plan, and plan smart. You know what is smart planning, right? Specific, measurable, actionable, results oriented, and time bound. What is your career goal? Where do you want to be by when? Number 2, build a strategy of how to get there. But keep an open mind, listen to people, be prepared to flex the strategy if that is required. But have a clear strategy. Number 3, scan the environment and map your progress. Your progress is not mapped by how you feel about yourself, but benchmark yourself against the best in the world. Number 4, measure yourself. what is your market value. I'm not saying float your CV every time. Maybe that's the way to do it. But do find out where you are in your company, where you are in your environment. How are your competitors? How are people comparable to you? Where are they in their environments? Benchmark yourself, once again, against best in the world. Remember, it's very easy to feel good about yourself if you are looking at people who are below your level. There's no point in that, because that doesn't show you anything. Benchmark yourself against the best in the world. If it creates a sense of dissatisfaction, that sense of dissatisfaction will fuel your own growth. So feel that dissatisfaction. It's very good for you. Number 5, constantly add value to yourself and to others. Constantly add value. Ask yourself, what am I doing today which is different in a positive way from what other people were doing, different in a positive way from what I myself was doing earlier. What is the surest sign of a leader? The willingness to be held accountable. Number 2, performance. Let me assure you that in global corporations, only results count. Only results add credibility. And which results? Not what you did when the pyramids were being built. What you did yesterday. What you did day before yesterday is already old news. What you did last week, nobody remembers, nobody cares. Results which are continuously increasing. Results which are continuously and consistently better. Only results add credibility. So what should you do? Focus on performing your current job and delivering more than expected. Remember, a soldier gets a medal for doing something over and above the call of duty. For the call of duty, for working for his living, he gets a salary. To perform his job to the standard, he gets a salary. He doesn't get a medal. He gets a medal for doing over and above. So make it a habit. Become known for delivering more than expected. Number 2, develop a reputation for reliability and trust. The worst thing that can happen to you is if people lose trust in you. The worst thing that can happen to you is people start feeling that I cannot rely on this guy. That is absolutely a complete suicide as far as your career is concerned. So develop a reputation for reliability and trust. Remember, it doesn't matter if you can do something brilliantly well. If people can't rely that you can do it and that you can deliver on time, that doing it brilliantly well is not going to help you. Number 3, it's okay to talk about career development, but secondary to how you perform your current job. Remember, your weekly results are what you are going to be judged on. So you can talk about your career strategy, you can talk about your career goals till the cows come home, but end of the day, what gets counted is your bottom line this week. And the last one is, do remember, the one who hits the ball out of the park is heard first. The expert is always heard first. Why? Because of his expertise. And remember, I'm talking about the one who hits the ball out of the park, not the one who reaches base. Reaching base is the boundary. Hitting the ball out of the park is what gets you credibility. Third point, expertise. Become recognized as an expert in your function and then apply it in a broader context. I'm an accountant. I'm the best accountant the world has ever known. And I'm willing to use my accounting ability for your benefit. Don't take that literally. I don't know the first thing about accounts. I am an engineer. I'm the best engineer the world has ever known. And I'm willing to use my engineering expertise to help you. What is trust? Trust is expertise plus the willingness to help others. We need these two things simultaneously in order for trust to build. I can be the best expert in the world in my field, but if I'm not available to you, you will not trust me. I can be the most willing to help, but if I don't have technical expertise in that area, you still won't trust me. You need the combination of these two, expertise and the willingness to help. So get recognition as an expert in your function and then apply it in a broader context. Number 2, learn the language of finance. The language of finance is the language of business. You should be able to read a balance sheet and be able to decide whether that balance sheet is a balance sheet of a company doing well or doing badly. I'm not saying you should be able to write a balance sheet. I'm saying you should be able to read a balance sheet. Sometimes some people say, I'm allergic to finance. Well, you're not allergic to finance, you're allergic to your career. Learn the language of finance. Third and last point on this slide, be prepared to accept the more problematic, the more inconvenient job and offer to help others. Remember, you will stand out only if you are doing something unusual. If you are doing the same old thing which everyone else is doing, you will not stand out. So be prepared to accept the more problematic and more inconvenient job. We come to the next key to career development, which is ownership. Remember, it's your career. It's not my career. It's not somebody else's career. It's not your boss's career. It's not your subordinate's career. It is your career. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you will work to take it forward. So track your career growth. Let me ask you something. Wilfred Bungai, the Kenyan guy who won the Olympics, the gold medal. What do you think Wilfred Bungai or somebody like Wilfred Bungai does the day after he takes the gold medal? The day after he takes the gold medal, the next morning, where will you find Wilfred Bungai? You will find him on the track. So, constant self-improvement, like a professional athlete, make it a habit. Write your own performance appraisal. Don't wait for the company's performance appraisal time. Write your own appraisal and say, what am I doing to take my career forward? What books am I reading? What courses am I attending? What am I doing to enhance my professional ability? What am I doing to build my networks? What am I doing to improve my communication skills? What am I doing to build a network of relationships which spans countries? Track your own career. Make your own development plan. And again, very important, show it to your boss. Because many times, people that we work for, our bosses, our super bosses, they have access to doors that we cannot open for ourselves. So it's a good idea to let them know what we are planning for ourselves and what we are doing to make that plan happen, because they can open a door for us that we couldn't have opened for ourselves. So very important, track your own career, take ownership for your own career, because guess what? It is your own career. Second part about ownership. Many times you hear people whining about their careers, and they come to you and they say, my career is going nowhere in this company and I don't think I'm progressing, and so on and so forth. But remember, others can give you advice, but in the end, your career is in your own hands. So lead from the front, become a role model consciously, because remember, you are a role model anyway. People are looking at you to see, is this how I want to be, or is this how I do not want to be? So you are a role model for anyone who is working for you, who is working around you. So, but be a role model consciously. Let them look up to you. It's very, very important for us to understand this. And be passionate, because passion is infectious. And you need to infect everyone around you with the passion that you have for what you do. I want you to remember one thing. You are only as good as your team. Nobody in the world succeeds on his own. No matter how clever you are, no matter how smart you are, you need to take people with you. And therefore, build your team. Take ownership for your team. Take ownership for your career. As I said, no one succeeds on his own. So ask yourself this question. Who is rooting for you? If you don't know who is rooting for you, or worse still, if there is no one rooting for you, then believe me, your days in your career are numbered. Only the inspired can inspire. So check your inspiration. As I always tell people, you cannot motivate people. You can only motivate yourself. It's like a candle. A candle does not do something to the room to light up the room. A candle is just true to itself. And lo and behold, the room lights up. And that's the reality of inspiration. If you are inspired, you can inspire people. Your own career will depend on those you can inspire. So critical abilities to do what? Number one, make friends. Number 2, be able to negotiate effectively. Number 3, communicate powerfully. Number 4, be able to resolve conflicts. 4 critical abilities for team building. Make friends, negotiate, communicate, resolve conflicts. Remember, people do not remember what you did, but they always remember how they felt. And that's why, ask yourself this question: who is rooting for me? I can tell you, in the last at least 15 years, I have never had to make a cold call to a client. All my clients across the world are of 2 kinds. Repeat business, people that I've been working with now for, in some cases, more than a decade, in some cases 2 decades. And second kind of customers I have are people who have been referred by my clients. Remember, there's nothing more credible than a customer's recommendation. Brand value is what your customers build for you. It's not what your ad agency creates in a brand recreation program. Next rule, challenges and visibility. As I explained earlier, take the problematic job. Take the job that nobody wants. Take the hard job. Err on the side of the bigger challenge. Play offense with your career. But remember, be brave. Don't be stupid. There is a difference between being brave and being foolhardy and stupid. Seek out assignments with visibility, but recognize that visibility cuts both ways. If you fail, the whole world will know about it. So be very clear about that. Be sensible, be ambitious, but don't be stupid. If you fail, people will not reward you for trying. Global corporations are very hard-nosed things. You get rewarded for one thing only, and that thing is winning. Not for how hard you worked, not for the fact that you were the first person to stand up and say, I will do this job. No, you will be rewarded if you win. So be sensible with regard to volunteering for the hard job. What is being sensible? 70% chance of success, 30% doubt. That 30% gap is what adds spice to the work. That's what adds excitement. Excitement, what is excitement? Excitement is fear that anticipates a happy ending. Excitement is fear that anticipates a happy ending. So do not have so much fear that it will either freeze you, or that the chances of failure are now 70%, the chances of success are 30%. Remember, there is a difference between ambition, between risk-taking and gambling. There's a big difference between risk-taking and gambling. Be a high risk-taker, do not be a gambler. We need visibility plus credibility for us to have success and for us to be seen as leaders. Visibility and credibility are both equally important. Mentors and role models are very important in terms of career development in global corporations. But remember, a mentor is not a godfather. A mentor is not a godfather. A mentor is somebody who is interested enough in you to give you advice. What is advice? Advice is what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. The two are not the same. What you need to hear and what you want to hear are very different sometimes. A mentor is somebody who is interested enough in you to give you that. What do? Get the mentor interested in you. You might think that you are the most interesting human being in the world, and your mom might agree with that. But believe me, most people don't think so. We have to sell that. We have to show people that I am worth your while for you to spend time in helping me to get up in life. So ask yourself, what is the best way to approach a mentor? Do not become a nuisance for your mentor. It shouldn't be a case where every time the mentor turns around and you're standing there. No. Be wise with how you deal with mentors. Take appointments, respect time, take notes, do not justify things, do not argue, listen carefully and implement. That is the way to deal with a mentor. Broaden your support base. Work with people who will challenge you. It's easy to work with people who are always saying nice things to you. Doesn't cut ice with anybody. Work with people who will challenge you. Seek feedback. The whole idea of a mentor is to get feedback. So don't become defensive. Don't start justifying things. Surround yourself with great people, but be willing to learn. Very, very important for us. Be persistent. As I said, be persistent, but be aware. Don't become a nuisance in the life of the mentor. And very important, if you stay around in a corporation long enough, there's one thing that I can guarantee you, and that thing is that you are going to be working for somebody who is imperfect. You are going to get a lousy boss. What do? You learn from that. You do not talk about that to anybody else. The world is round, and what you say will come around to you, and that will always, always hurt you. Don't complain about your bosses. Learn from them. Learn how you can be better. Bottom line, allergy to feedback is allergy to growth. Another very important matter as far as going up in global corporations is concerned is cross-cultural exposure, cross-cultural experience. I teach cross-cultural training. I do cross-cultural training in the United States. I do it here. If I have to give you the secret of cross-cultural success in one word, that word is respect. Respect. I'm not saying agree. I'm not saying become like that. I'm saying respect that difference. Don't try to make them change and become like you. No. Respect that difference. Learn the language of the country. Expose yourself to that culture. Do not judge people of other cultures by your standards or your value systems. Doesn't work. In some cases, they are huge opposites. Very, very diametrical opposites. What we consider in our culture to be absolutely wonderful and the sign of success can be the sign of failure in another culture. So be completely non-judgmental, but respect them for their difference. Number 3, be willing to talk about your culture. Be willing to share information about your culture. Help to explain to people why you do what you do in a non-defensive, in a non-judgmental manner. And ask questions. Very simple. Many of us don't realize this. In global corporations, one of the biggest opportunities we have is to learn about multiple cultures across the world. And why? Because we work with people from all over the world. So ask questions, but do that with sensitivity. Don't offend people. Sometimes we become too direct in the way we ask questions and people get offended. So don't do that. Ask questions. Keep it impersonal. Don't ask a person a direct personal question about themselves unless you know them well enough to do that. So be aware of local manners and be humble. Be humble. I'm not saying pretend to be less than what you are. That's not humility. That's actually lying. It's as bad as boasting, pretending to be more than what you are. Be yourself with confidence, but be humble, because humility endears you to others. I teach in GE, and one of the places that I have had the opportunity and the privilege of teaching is in the GE Corporate University in Crotonville. And I remember one course I was editing, the NMDC, the New Managers Development course, one of the flagship courses of GE, which is taught across the world, and I'm one of the NMDC trainers certified at GE Crotonville. We were in that course, and I was there in GE Crotonville, and we had this amazing opportunity of talking to Bill Lane. Bill Lane was Jack Welch, the chairman of GE at the time. He was Jack Welch's communication consultant. He was his speechwriter and he was his communication consultant. Amazing guy. And he gave us this fantastic presentation about what he called the career derailers in GE according to Jack Welch. Now I have just taken that thing and put it into my presentation. I teach this presentation, as I told you, in GE and elsewhere. I think these rules, what Jack Welch calls, and there are 6 of them, what he calls is career derailers. They don't apply only to GE, they apply across the world. No matter what kind of company you are in, if you are doing any of these things, then believe me, you are going to hit a dead end. What are they? Number 1, Well says, no inspiration. The first number one career derailer is lack of inspiration, meaning the lack of ability to inspire people. Somebody who fails to communicate and inspire around a clear, simple, stretch goal, unable to get the commitment of the team. As I told you, you cannot win alone. If you can't get people to pull along with you, you are dead from the word go. Number two, a culture misfit. Remember, global corporations are like cults. Global corporations are like cults. If you don't fit into that culture, you will not succeed. Walmart, for example, has the Walmart chant. What do people do? They jump up onto the countertops and they sing the Walmart chant. Now, if you think that's a stupid thing, if you think that is, if you say to yourself, well, nobody's going to find me on a countertop jumping up and down singing the Walmart chant, believe me, leave Walmart, go join somebody else. Because if you don't think that's the best thing in the world, then you don't fit into that culture. Global corporations are like cults. You fit in or you are ejected like a virus. I'm using the words from the wonderful book Built to Last, which is Colin and Porras. Read that. Fantastic part of that book is on how global corporations, highly visionary corporations, are in many ways very close to what cults are like. You are a believer or you are a disbeliever. There's no mid part. So culture misfit. Delivers results but does not believe in the values of the culture. If that happens, your career is going nowhere. Number three, cannot deliver. As I told you, end of the day, it's your bottom line results which will count. You can talk a good game, but if you do not deliver beyond expectations, your career is going nowhere. You are going to hit a dead end. Number four of career derailers is out of focus, missing leverage points. Believe me, nothing in the world is equal. No two people are equal. No two opportunities are equal. No two challenges are equal. It's very important for us to be able to pick the challenge that gives you leverage, the opportunity which gives you leverage. GE picked on Six Sigma. Fantastic, it was there in the whole world for everyone to have, but GE picked on it after Motorola, and that was a leverage opportunity. Career dead end, out of focus, unable to identify leverage opportunities and unable to process multiple inputs. Number five, poor relationships, unable to work with diverse people in a multicultural environment. Multinational global corporations are about multicultures, are about working with people who are different from you in terms of gender, color, race, nationality, religion, political aspirations, so on and so forth. We still need to work with them. We still need to work with them successfully, cooperatively, get them inspired, even though we are different from them and they are different from us. If we can't do that, career derailer. Last one, very important, inflexibility, the unwillingness to change, the over-dependence on mentors, over-dependence on skill sets. Very, very important. If you find yourself speaking the language of blame, remember, you are headed down the wrong track. We need to be able to look at ourselves. We need to be able to be critical but not be over-critical. When you are criticizing somebody, look at how can you improve them, how can you change them, not just finding fault. Fault finding and blaming is a very good way of derailing your own career. I want to say to you, success is where opportunity meets preparedness. Many times people say, well, I never had the opportunity. Guess what? That's not true. Everyone has opportunity. People are just not prepared. Before Sabir Bhatia created Hotmail, there was the opportunity of an internet-based free email application. The opportunity was there for the whole world, including myself. But guess what? I didn't think of it. Sabir Bhatia did. And that's why he was able to sell it to Microsoft for $450 million. And I talk about his ability to do that. For success, you need 5 things: passion, edge, discipline, inspiration, and return. But that's a different story, and I will talk to you about that. But remember, if you take a continuum, which is ambivalence on one side and passion on the other, if you take ambivalence on one side and passion on the other, success is being skewed towards passion. Remember, we all like to talk about work-life balance. Take it from me. If you are serious about a fast-track career in a global corporation, there is no such thing as work-life balance. You have to be skewed towards passion. You have to be skewed towards work. And your life, the rest of your life, has to fit into that. I'm not saying that success in global corporations means a unsuccessful marriage. It means unsuccessful children. It means unsuccessful friendships. No, it doesn't mean that. It means a highly successful marriage, but a partner who supports you in what you are doing. It means highly successful children, but children who support you in what you are doing. It means beautiful relationships, but relationships that support you in what you are doing. It has to be skewed towards passion, otherwise you are not going to be successful. In 28 years of consulting with many major global multinationals, I have yet to see one single successful person who was not totally and completely passionate about his or her career. If there is one word that I want to wrap up my presentation with, and that word is differentiate. Differentiate, because sheep blend in, leaders differentiate. Create a brand. Remember, without brand, you are a grain of rice in a sack. You are still rice, but you are a grain of rice in a stack. Why must you create brand? And what's that brand? That brand is you. Brand you. What is that brand? And why the brand? Because brand differentiates you. Brand inspires loyalty. Brand is your legacy. Brand is recall. Brand is repeat business. Brand is what people take away after they have interacted with you. And what is the key to branding? Quality. Quality is the key to branding. Without brand, you don't exist. I want to share with you a slogan of the Gucci family. And the slogan is, quality is remembered long after the price is forgotten. I want to invite you to do a personal SWOT analysis of yourself. Look at yourself. Sit down and look at what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Talk to other people about both of these, because they will open your eyes to both. And then look at what are the opportunities that await you if you can leverage your strengths. And then also look at what are the threats to your career if you fail to get over those weaknesses. Last point I want to talk to you about is that many times if you leverage a strength, it takes you over the weakness. You don't always have to develop your weaknesses. Just learn to leverage the strengths. The essential reality, my friends, is that the new brain-based economy, the new knowledge industry, the new knowledge world is very much like the old. We still live by our wits, we still improvise, we still innovate, and we still anticipate. We need to think like entrepreneurs. Even if you are working in companies, in corporations, somebody invented this lovely word, intrapreneur, which is an entrepreneur inside a corporation. We must become intrapreneurs. Who is an entrepreneur? Somebody who is self-reliant. He is dependent on his own skill set, which he constantly improves. Self-reliant, dependent on your own skill set, which you constantly improve. Because remember, it's only your own track record which will speak for you, not what anybody else says. It's only your own track record which will speak for you. I wish you all success, and I wish you a wonderful fast-track career. And for more information, contact us at www.yawarbaig.com. I am Yawar Baig. Thank you very much.